welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I have a lot of December journal spreads to share with you. I'm starting with my December calendar for my archive journal. I feel like every time I make a calendar, I say, oh, this one's my favorite. I really do like this one. I think it's because I like the colors of it a lot. I was trying to pick a photo that wasn't again, I said photo. Didn't I say photo last time too? Some artwork that wasn't too Christmassy, because as I said before, I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate any kind of December holiday, but I liked the idea of Hello Kitty kind of being Santa and being in control of a sleigh. I thought that was cute. I also am extending the calendar. If you've watched my other videos, and I'm sure you know, I usually have to kind of split the last week of the boxes because there's usually like 5 weeks in a month. So I just decided to make my own 5th row this time. And also I changed around the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the days of the week like that again, because in America, calendars start on Sunday. And it was making me confused every time I looked at my calendar with it starting on Monday. I feel like it would be okay if it was like a task list sort of thing, like if I was looking at it Monday through Sunday like that, because I do think Monday is the beginning of the week, but my brain is just so accustomed to Sunday being the beginning of the week on a calendar, so I decided I would change that too. Also, on my last calendar, I used a confetti overlay, and I'm doing the same thing on this calendar. There's really not much going on in December for me. I feel like the most that I have to do in December is always just kind of like admin stuff, like life admin. Like I have to reset the entirety of my Notion. I have to set up my new journal for next year. Oh my gosh, have I even spoken about that? So last year in 2023, at the very beginning of the year, I almost broke my wrist. It's kind of a long story. I don't think I have time to tell it to you, but basically it's the fault of one of my neighbors. And because of him, my wrist was literally almost snapped in two. And I could not write, like physically could not hold a pencil and write until maybe like June or July of last year of 2023. It wasn't even just writing either. Like I literally couldn't do anything. Like my mom was like cooking dinner and she was like, hey, could you stir that on the stove for me? I physically could not make my wrist do that motion. Like I could not do anything. And it was my dominant hand too. It was my right hand. So because of that, my journal for 2023 remains completely unfinished, which that in itself wouldn't be a problem because I can always go back because I have like all of my thoughts written down, or I should say typed out on a Google Doc. So one day I'm definitely going to get around to finishing it because I have another one. I have 2021 also that I never finished. But anyway, I kind of got out of the habit of physically journaling in 2023 because of my wrist. And so in 2024, I also have barely journaled. Like I don't even know what day I left off on my journal the last time I physically took pen to paper. And that makes me so sad, and it made me think that I wasn't even going to get a journal for this year. I honestly had like a hard time deciding, and I thought I might as well go ahead and get it because I think I'm gonna regret if I don't. But anyway, yeah, I don't think I've ever told that story before on my channel, but that's honestly another reason why I kind of got into digital journaling, was because it wasn't as intensive on my handwriting and stuff. All of that was to say, December is mostly about resetting for me. I kind of love the beginnings of New Year's. Like it's really so arbitrary because there's nothing different between December 31st and January 1st, but I love it. I love being able to reset everything. It's nice to have like a fresh slate, like a clean slate, a fresh start, even if it's fake. Like you can just convince yourself that it really is a new beginning. Oh, also I meant to talk about November, like the end of November. I had the best chocolate cake on Thanksgiving. It was kind of ridiculous to make, but it was such an interesting texture. It was like a chocolate cake mix with a pudding mix combined together. And as it kind of got cold, as it was just like sitting in the house, it made it almost like a brownie texture. It was so good. And also the pug won the dog show. I love pugs. My stuffed animal that I sleep with every single night is a Webkinz pug. Her name is Pugsley. So I feel like that's her cousin. Like, look at your cousin up there winning the whole entire dog show. That's really all I had to say about November. Like, I didn't have anything else to say. My calendar is finished and I love how it turned out. The next spread I'm making is for my reading journal, and it's my December TBR. December is really not the time to have any kind of like big goals because it's the end of the year. It's like, you know, I want to be reading some festive stuff, but also kind of just like wrapping everything up. I don't want to get started in something that's going to take too long. So no series, no longer manhwas, nothing like that. I actually never got to read my December TBR from last year. I have a YouTube short about it. I need to like actually go back and look and see what was on it because I kind of don't remember now. I got really sick, unfortunately, at the end of last year. It was the first time I'd been sick in literally forever. It was the first time I had been sick since 2019. Shout out to wearing masks around everywhere still to this day because we are in an ongoing pandemic. But anyway, I kind of need to go look and make sure that I didn't leave anything off this list. If I did, I'll have to go back and add it. But I think everything I want to read is a manga. I want to read, or I should say reread, Qualia Under the Snow because I read it for the first time, I want to say 2 years ago, but it's now been officially licensed. It was published in English So I really want to reread it because I kind of already don't remember the story since it's been 2 years since I read it anyway, and I would love to see how the official translation is. I also want to read Barefoot Angel Volume 2. Again, I read the first volume, I'm thinking like 2 years ago, and I remember it being set during the winter time, so I'm assuming volume 2 will also be set during winter time, but maybe not. If it's not, like if I kind of start it and it seems like it's, I don't know, like summer, I probably won't read this one. But I feel like I remember the cover looking wintry. Like I feel like in the cover they're like wearing scarves or something. Anyway, it's about an angel, as I'm sure you can imagine. It's called Barefoot Angel, and he wants someone to make him some shoes, and he ends up like in the human world, and there is a cobbler who he falls in love with, who does indeed make him some shoes. The next 2 mangas that I want to read are by the same mangaka, and I don't know what either of them are about. The first one is called Into Deep, Our Hallowed Diner, and the second one is called Slope Magic Room 101. I literally don't know what either of them are about, but I must have earlier in the year like seen them and decided they looked wintry because I have like a page in my Notion where I like write down things that I think would work well with themes, or like which months I think it would be good to read them, and that was in my winter reads section, so it must have seemed festive to me. Speaking of festive, I want to read Mary on the Rocks, which is a short manhwa. I think it's maybe like 4 chapters. It was definitely on my list from last year because I really wanted to read it. I don't know who did the art, but the story is by Masqueretto, a mother to many, so I'm sure it'll be a good story. There's also a manga coming out. Well, by the time you're watching this video, it will have already come out, and I think it's by the same mangaka who writes that Fall in Love False Angels, I think is what it's called. I'm really interested in reading that, and it's also being published physically in English in, I want to say maybe like February, but it might be later in the year, in 2025. I'm going to make a whole entire spread actually about mangas that are being published in 2025 because there are a lot that I'm excited to read. I don't know if you know this, but my superpower is that anytime I find a manga that I'm interested in, even if I've never read like a fan translation of it or anything, it will get an English license. I don't know why I have been given this power. The most shocking one this year was there's a BL manga called Lincoln Ring that I don't even think anybody else had heard of, and I was like, I'm gonna own this one day, even if I have to buy it in Japanese, like I don't care. And then one day I'm scrolling through Twitter, and what do I see? It's been published physically in English. I think it's an exclusive to Kinokuniya though, but still, there's even a manga, I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. I literally don't even know what it's called, but I saw the cover for it one time and I was like, I love how that looks. I wish I could read that one day. Who knew that one day would be next year? So that is my superpower, but I'm using my powers for good, don't worry. But anyway, I'm excited to get into some wintry festive books this month. The next 2 spreads I'm making both go into my archive journal, and this one is specifically me talking about decorating for Christmas. My mom celebrates Christmas, even though I do not, so I always try to help her with the decorations that she wants to put up. Honestly, every single year we put less and less up. I really cannot stand to have to do a lot of work to take things down afterwards. Like that's my least favorite part of decorating. So every year I've been trying to like whittle away like what we put up. I didn't even decorate my room this year. Usually I try to, but I didn't even feel like doing that. Like I just left everything where it was in storage. We don't even put up a tree. But the living room is decorated, like our stockings are up and stuff, and the dining room is decorated, the table, my mom always does the table really nicely, and then the outside of the house, we always put up like a small tree on our front porch, like we decorate it, and I always put some lights up. And when I say I put lights up, I don't mean like how people get on ladders and like really trim their house with lights. I don't do all of that, of course. I'm so scared of heights. I would never get on a ladder. I just tape up some lights around our front door. I always make those multicolor, and then I have a few different colors for like the side of the porch. I just do like kind of like a little, what do you call that? A swag? Is that the word? You know, where it's like the way garland looks, you know, where there's like, you know, like little U shapes. I asked my mom which color of lights she wanted this year to go out there, and she said the red, white, and green ones. So those are the ones I put up. I feel like they're kind of mismatched. Like I feel like I should maybe do both of them multicolor, but whatever. And from those lights, I always hang like these really gigantic ornaments from them, like 4 of them. And I feel like it looks so nice. It doesn't take that long to do at all, which is great because it was freezing when I was out there trying to do it. And then we have a wreath, of course, on our front door. And we also have like a little projection thing that goes into like the ground. Like it has like a little stake on the bottom of it and goes into the ground. I can't remember ever like what it projects. I think it's candy canes. I don't know why I forget every single year, but I think it's candy canes. And we just have that pointed at our garage door. So that's really it. I feel like it's simple but effective. You know, it's like I deeply appreciate anyone who has both the money and the time to do like grand decoration displays for any holiday. I think that's so fun. If I like were really into decorating for Christmas and like just had an unlimited budget, I feel like my theme would be the Nutcracker. When I was a little girl, it was such a big deal to be in the production of the Nutcracker. And of course, I had to be in it too. You could only be in it if you were in 4th or 5th grade. So, and they also only did it every other year. So the year I was in 4th grade is when I was in the Nutcracker. And I feel like it's just like this magical part of my childhood. I love it so much. I love the story of the Nutcracker. I also really recommend, if you can find the version of the book that Natalie Andreessen illustrated, it is so beautiful. I checked it out from my library a couple years ago. I had so much fun reading it. I definitely recommend that. I think I also really like the theme of the Nutcracker, and also kind of like a Candyland sort of theme too, because they're not quite Christmas, you know, it's not like Christmas, but it's still festive. I do like that. I actually have a Nutcracker collection. I think I might have shown it in my Christmas vlog from last year. I don't remember, but I think I showed my Nutcracker collection. It's very small. I wish I had a big Nutcracker collection, but then I would have to like get them out every single year, because otherwise I would feel bad having the collection. Last year, my mom actually got me an ornament that looked like a cookie, like a gingerbread cookie, a frosted gingerbread cookie, I guess. And it's a Nutcracker, and he's holding a little gingerbread man. It's so cute. Target used to sell this Nutcracker every single year. I don't know if they still do, but it was a Nutcracker that was supposed to be Uncle Drusselmeyer, and he had a little miniature Nutcracker in his arms. I hope they still sell those actually, because I would love to have one. I love the Nutcracker so much. Oh, I didn't even say what role I was in the Nutcracker. I was one of the flowers. Specifically, we were roses. You know, they come out and dance with the Sugar Plum Fairy for Marie or Clara, depending on the story, and the prince, the Nutcracker prince. My dress was red. It was like spaghetti straps, and the top of it was like sequined, and then it was like a big, like a tulle skirt. And also, for some reason, our shoes had to be black. I remember having to go get my ballet shoes painted black. I actually don't know who did it. Like, did somebody just like specialize in painting ballet shoes back then? I don't know. And then I remember the year after that, I don't know what the production even was. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like kids going to the North Pole, and I was one of the first dancers. And it was like, we were almost kind of like the Rockettes. Like, I had a top hat and I had a candy cane. That was like a big candy cane. And my top hat had like a peppermint on the top of it. And the song we danced to was North Pole, but like to the tune of New York, New York. But anyway, memories of being a dancer aside, this spread is finished. The final spread I'm making today is a little challenge that I'm giving myself. I would like to color for 12 days. 12 days of coloring, if you will. I saved way too many things from Pinterest that I wanted to color for the month of December. I think it's because like it's sort of similar to with like Halloween. It's like people will make Halloween themed things but not fall themed things. So like I can't really find that many winter coloring sheets that I like, but I found a lot of Christmas ones. And so I don't want to be coloring Christmas ones in January, you know? So I'm going to challenge myself to color for 12 days straight, one new coloring sheet per day. Some of them are very small pictures, so I don't think it'll take me long at all. I think I'm mostly worried that like I'm going to get so fed up with coloring the same thing over and over. Like, how many different ways can you color a Christmas tree? How many different ways can you color a wreath, right? But this is my little personal challenge. Usually I would say I color one sheet like per week. I think usually it takes me 2 days, maybe 3 if I'm like really dragging my feet with it. But depending on how complex it is, like I've definitely finished coloring pages in one day. Like it's not like it takes me like 12 hours or anything like that. I'm saving the more complex coloring pages for like the week of Christmas, like the week before Christmas. Digital coloring is so much fun. I feel like my hands are not loving it right now though, because it's so cold. I do hope it warms up a little bit more. I really hope it's not this cold for the whole entire month of December, or at least I hope that there's some sun. Also, I've been feeling really organized lately with all of the things that I want to use for my Christmas and winter spreads, because when I was going through my Pinterest, I did that. I feel like, I don't know if it was in October, but definitely the beginning of November. And I'm glad I kind of went ahead and pulled everything that I wanted to use, because I split it up between like winter things, so like things that I feel like I can still use in January, February, and then specifically like Christmas themed things. And it's made it really easy to pick what I want to use whenever I'm making spreads. Oh, also another thing that I was going to tell you, remember how I was saying, and not in my last video, but the one before that my iPad was going to have to be replaced, even though it's perfectly fine, it's just running out of space. Literally the next day, the iOS 18 like notification came up and was like, hey, like, you know, this can be downloaded, but you don't have enough space. Usually I can kind of just like delete some stuff and like it'll be enough. No way. It's way too big of a file this time. So that's kind of, I don't want to say that's it for my iPad. Like, it's not like it's going to stop working or anything, but yup, like that's it, like it cannot install any more updates. I was like, no. And you know what, I actually don't know if I'm going to get another iPad next, because it's not like this iPad is completely out of space, and the only thing I would really need like an Apple product for is the paperapp. And I just feel like I have plenty of space in order to, you know, store all of my journal spreads. I just feel like Apple products are so expensive, and I'm not going to get another iPad unless I know for a fact I can afford to get one that has plenty of storage space. I was really paying attention to the Black Friday sales this year, and even with the sales going on, like everything is just still so expensive. I honestly don't know if I'm going to have that kind of money by this time next year. However, I could definitely have the money for a really decent Samsung tablet. So I'll just have to see. I really honestly do nothing on my iPad other than like consume media. Like I don't use it for anything other than that, and editing my videos, of course. So I'm not one of those people who's like, ew, I can't use an Android device. I don't even understand that actually. I can't really know what my life will look like around this time next year though, of course. I might win the lottery. I might be speaking to y'all from my yacht next year. Actually, I would never. I'm very anti-large boats like that. They're so bad for the ocean. Plus all the fuel they use, no way. I truly hope in my lifetime I see the downfall of the cruise ship industry. Like it should not be allowed to exist. But before I shut down the cruise industry, I'm going to hopefully do 12 days of coloring. And that was the final spread of this video. So now I'm going to go put all of my spreads into my journals. As you watch me place my spreads into my journals, I forgot I have one other story that I wanted to tell everyone. So I finally got my Jaehyun album, and as I was flipping through it, I can't remember which song it was now, either Easy or Can't Get You. But I love, one of my favorite things to do when I get a K-pop album is to look through like what the original songs were called. I don't know why, like I find that thrilling. But anyway, as I was looking through all the credits and stuff, on whichever song it was, I'd have to go back and look now, I don't even remember. But whichever song it was, it said background vocals by, and I thought I would just see, you know, Jaehyun. But in that song, there is like a woman's voice too, like kind of layered in the background. And this background vocalist, her name is SHERIE. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god. It's like, oh my gosh, is she a Sheree too? It could be Sherry though. My next door neighbor, actually her name is spelled the same exact way as mine, but it's pronounced Sherry. Oh my god, I was kind of freaking out. I was like, this is as close as Jaehyun and I will ever be. Our names, and it's not even my name, just close enough to my name. Our names on a singular page, a singular sheet of paper in his debut solo album. And also, they weren't even next to each other. It was like, his was like on one line and like the other singer, hers was on the beginning of the next line. So they weren't even next to each other. In every universe, we're separated, I guess. But I really got so excited though. I was like, the multiverses are leaking. There's this poem. I'm so annoying quoting poetry actually. But anyway, there's this poem and it says something like, I have my mother's eyes and my father's mouth. On my face is the only place they're together. Something like that. And that's how I feel about mine and Jaehyun's names being on that piece of paper. And it's not even my name. Like, okay, I couldn't let you go before I told you that riveting story. But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you had fun. I, of course, had a lot of fun. I always do. I love hanging out like this. Everything I used in today's spreads will be in my Pinterest board, which is linked in the description box as always, along with my other social media. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I hope that you're having a good December so far. I hope that you are bundled up nice and warm if it's cold where you are. And I will be back as soon as possible with another video. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.